Hey guys, Scott here, and I thought I would go over and kind of review patch 4.7 for Dead by Daylight. And overall, I gotta say, in terms of the standard patch that they put out, this one was pretty decent. There's not too many problems with it. There's not that many amazing things that changed, but any patch where they don't completely break the game in 50 different ways, in my opinion, is a pretty damn good patch. So overall, I would say this is pretty nice so far, but let's go into the actual specifics and see how they actually ended up affecting the game, because some things were a bit more impactful than I thought. Some things were not quite as impactful as I thought they would be. But let's just go over them briefly. So the twins, nobody plays the twins. I haven't actually gone against a twins, and I don't play the twins. And I don't know how effective these changes are. I know Dowsey doesn't like it, and he plays a lot of twins, so whatever. I can't really give educated comments on the twins and this change because I don't play the twins. I don't ever go against the twins. I find them extremely unfun, and apparently everyone else does as well. So let's just move past the twins, I guess. Demogorgon, I played a couple games. It's one of those things, kind of like Trickster, where he just feels nicer to play. He's still not exceptionally strong or anything like that. He's definitely on the average, maybe slightly below average side. But Demogorgon is still a pretty, he's a decent killer, and the changes made him feel a bit nicer to play. The one add-on that is kind of the save the best for last for your shred is actually quite good, and probably his best add-on. That is probably the only add-on that he has that is something that I would actually use on a standard build. It's the Black Heart. So that add-on is actually very, very good. There's a couple of others that are interesting, but for the most part, demo is mostly the same. He just feels a bit better to play, so nothing crazy, but it's pretty much only positives, so no complaints there. The nightmares change. I haven't really noticed a difference at all. Freddy plays the exact same way, so I didn't really think this was going to change much. The only thing that is a little bit different is the clock giving you actual immunity to being slept now, so you can actually get hit and you still won't fall asleep. That's pretty good. And all they removed was basically the Forever Freddy shit, which I think was really just a detriment to the game. It's just such a boring play style. But Freddy himself is still pretty boring still. He still plays the exact same way. The slowdown does not do much in a loop because you don't leave the loop. You don't gain distance while you're dropping the power, so it ends up really not doing that much at all. So Freddy's still very strong, still very easy to play, and unfortunately still pretty not fun. But at least they removed some of the biggest complaints people had, which is like swing chains, paintbrush, stacking slowdowns, and all that good stuff. So overall, good change in my opinion, but not super impactful. So people that still main Freddy will still be just fine. Huntress add-on changes were pretty cool. The one that changes the hatchet flight speed I find to be a detriment if you're good at Huntress, because you've got that muscle memory of exactly how fast hatchets fly, and that will mess with you. It'll mess with your long-range aim quite a bit. I don't know why they made the reload thing rare. It's not that great. But other than that, I'm glad they nerfed Iridescent Head. I made fun of it because it was a very lazy nerf. They didn't need to nerf it, but it was a very lazy nerf, and I wish they did something more interesting with it rather than just you could only hold one. Iridescent Head is now terrible. It's worse than no add-ons in my opinion, and it didn't fix the one thing that was the main complaint with Iridescent Head, which was people that are bad at Huntress just getting up in melee range and one-shotting you. That can still happen to one guy now, so that one guy is still having a bad time. The Huntress is having a bad time because they're just using a weak add-on now, so it didn't really address the issue with that at all. That's why I was so disappointed with it. But everything else I think is a pretty good change. I think the exhaustion add-ons needed to be nerfed because 90 seconds of exhaustion in this version of the game is absolutely ridiculous. So overall, good stuff there. The whole struggle system with the whole having to press spacebar just for the skill checks, good change. No complaints there. I can't really complain about that whatsoever. I think that's something they should have done a while ago. Small games showing the amount of totems left is really nice for people that hate Noed, so that's a good change. The Soul Guard change doesn't do much. They actually nerfed Lucky Break from PTB to live, which I'm very grateful for. And I am seeing it almost never. Pretty much no one is bringing Lucky Break, and I can't explain how useful that perk is. And I'm kind of glad people aren't using it because I don't want to go against it. People are underestimating the shit out of that perk. People might go, oh, well, 45 seconds, you might only be able to use it once or twice. Yeah, but if it gets you away from a killer, it makes the killer lose the chase. That is like having Decisive Strike, which you only can use once per game as well. You just get to go away for free. So it's extremely strong, and I'm very happy more people are not using it, and I'll just leave it at that. The rest of the changes were pretty cool. Zanchin Texas, whatever. I like the borrowed time change. Basically, this makes it so borrowed time is always active, but at a reduced duration. So no matter what, you will always have endurance for 12 seconds, which is cool because it will stop, a Wraith who's just camping the hook and wants to tunnel you off the hook and cheese the mechanic. It'll stop Freddy, doing that as well. Basically, the only people that should be upset about this borrowed time nerf are people that try to immediately tunnel off the hook with some gimmick that'll let them remove their Terradius. So, frankly, if you're upset about that change, you should not really admit that because you're also admitting something else you probably don't want to admit. But the trade-off of it lasting a bit less time is pretty good too. So, I really like that change. I think that's one of the better ones they've done. Object of Obsession change, I think, is very cool too. It doesn't seem overpowered anymore, but it still seems useful. These survivors can get a lot of information from you, but it's a bit harder to control, and you have to be the obsession to get the passive effect. In one of my games, actually, the passive effect got me a down because I could see that they were not faking a window because it activated right in that time. So it was and ended up working out for me. So I actually like the change that they made to Object. It's not overpowered anymore, but it lets you get a lot of information as Survivor, and it's still very strong in Survivor with Friends. So overall, pretty cool. Other than that, some very minor stuff. The cosmetic stuff is pretty cool. The crypt stuff I really like. Yeah, overall, I'd say this is a pretty solid patch. There's still, a lot of bugs, a lot of sound issues. They fixed the palette bug, mostly. For the most part, I think this is a pretty good patch. I liked it. And hopefully for a month and a half, we'll have a pretty decent, stable game, which is really nice. So that's it. Not bad.